It's always good to visit with you and the detoxers, and we certainly need to detox from the authoritarian strain that we're seeing across the media landscape, across higher education, full-on assault basically on the entire knowledge industry and humanities that's going on here. When you were rattling off that list of people who had the improper opinions or made improper statements according to the powers that be, you can sort of just add to that long list of, and coming soon to an employer near you. It seems like everybody's getting into the game of cancel culture. Did I say cancel culture? It seems as though that the people that were railing against cancel culture on the right that used college campuses as a way to show that liberals were somehow intolerant are now the ones crying for cancellation over any opinion that doesn't fit some, state commissar's standard of what the appropriate way to mourn someone is. Which, by the way, is what I'm addressing. I am not talking about Kirk at all. What happened is an absolute disaster and a tragedy, not just for Kirk and his family, but for the entire country and for the state of free speech and for the situation as volatile as it is already on college campuses. So this isn't a laughing matter. But I have to say that the reaction to it couldn't be more cartoonishly hypocritical, which is what I want to focus on. So, because there's no real defense of that. These are the same people, that have claimed to be victims of cancel culture that actually have careers steeped in canceling other people with whom they disagree, whether it's professors or journalists or celebrities or anyone else. This is why you and I, when we wrote a book a few years ago called Let's Agree to Disagree, we had a chapter on the history of the First Amendment and censorship. And one of the things that you and I, Nolan, talked about was cancel culture. And we talked about how the slippery slope of cancellation, where we gave example after example of Team Blue cheering on the cancellation of Team Red teammates right over there. We said, look, this is going to backfire. Not only did you and I talk about the Streisand effect, the calling of attention to the very thing that one doesn't like by trying to cancel and censor it.
Mhm.
And then on the other, we just said, hey, turnabout is fair play. I mean, if you're showing the political culture in general that this is how you're going to behave, and you want to get away with it because it's justified when you do it, then it's going to clearly mirror itself later when somebody else is in power. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now, except we're seeing wholesale capitulation, the degree to which we haven't seen since the second Red Scare, arguably. I mean, even in the wake of 9/11, when we saw cancellation of various people, we saw the sycophancy of Dan Rather on the late night show with David Letterman saying that the president just needs to tell me where to line up. In other words, it was like a bootlicking convention. And then later, of course, Rather came to regret that, and he became a darling of the media reform movement somehow by saying that, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Bill Maher, who was still on TV back then, or I should say is still somehow on now, his shtick back then was politically incorrect. And you might remember, Nolan, that he lost his job at ABC because he had an improper opinion about George Bush's phrasing of terrorism, of acts of cowardice. And whether or not you agree with Maher isn't the point, although he made a very apt point that was certainly worthy of consideration, that would be a debatable thing on a news show, let alone a late night entertainment program. So that's where we are, Nolan. You had Tim Carr on not long ago from Free Press, and they've launched something called the Media Capitulation Index. I'm not sure how they're going to scale to keep up to it. It's happening at such record pace. Kimmel is only the latest. I'm not a fan of Kimmel. That's not what this is about at all. It doesn't matter what we like. If we don't have freedom of speech and expression for the views we don't like, we don't have it at all.